future is now. And welcome to the SVK Crypto podcast. 15 minutes of crypto fame.
Today we've got an amazing guest speaker. We've got a slightly different format to our previous shows. We have one of the co-founders of SVK Crypto has joined us in the studio today, which we're very excited about. But before we get into that, let me give you some quick levels. We currently have Bitcoin at $5,339, which is down 3% in the last 24 hours. Ethereum is currently trading at $296, which is down 4% in the last 24 hours. Ripple is at 20 cents, which is down 5%. And Litecoin at $55, and that's down 6%. I want to say a big thanks to everyone who's followed us on Twitter and also reached out personally and asked lots of questions. We really appreciate the emails, guys, so keep them coming in and keep spreading the good word of the SVK Crypto podcast. 15 minutes of crypto fame. So let's get into this. So Shane, if you can give us a quick background on yourself and just give a quick introduction, really.
Well, first of all, how's it going, Charles? You well?
Absolutely, everything's going great.
Fantastic. We've had a great day here at SVK Crypto HQ. So for those who don't know me, my name is Shane Kehoe. I'm one of the co-founders of SVK Crypto. My background has been an investment professional for some 17 years. My last major role was at one of the biggest hedge funds in Europe, where I was a portfolio manager and then a partner. I became the youngest managing partner of that firm, not necessarily because of the school that I went to or the color of my skin, but I had the ability to spot opportunity and act upon it. And that opportunity is why we're all here today. Mm-hmm. That opportunity is bigger than I have ever seen in my lifetime. Wow. That opportunity is Bitcoin, the blockchain, and cryptocurrencies as a whole. And I'm sure you'd agree.
Absolutely, absolutely.
That opportunity, Charles, I believe hasn't even started. I don't even believe we're getting going. I really, really, really believe that when I speak to and talk to all my friends in Silicon Valley and ask them the timeline of where we currently are in this whole cryptocurrency space, not one of them has told us, if they were to map it back, that we're past 1992 or 1993.
Wow.
For someone as young as you may not know, but that's pre-Netscape days.
Right.
And that's when people didn't even know what a URL was or an address, and were scared to use the internet because they didn't realize that it was safe, or that they were unwilling to send mail. People were still sending letters.
Right.
So if you fast forward now to how educated we are in using the internet, that exact same thing is going to happen in the cryptocurrency space.
Wow.
It's going to happen faster. It's definitely going to happen faster because we're in a different world. But it is definitely going that way. All the smartest people in Silicon Valley that I speak to are all working on blockchain technology stroke cryptocurrencies.
Perfect. And do you see a lot of similarities? Because obviously I remember you saying previously you were involved in the IPO stage back in the 90s of the tech bubble, the tech boom. Do you see a lot of similarities now, or?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been investing in the .com space since the late 90s. I was very active in the IPO markets, right up until my recent role at a hedge fund. I believe this is V2 of the equity capital markets. I believe that this is almost like crowdfunding via the blockchain, via the technology platform. And when I talk about that, I'm talking about ICOs, and maybe we'll get onto that a little bit in a minute once we kind of talked about what we do at SVK Crypto. But I believe this market is happening faster than the IPO market, and also I think it's easy accessible for the retail consumer to get involved, because this is not done through the typical investment banks, but actually now done by the individual companies that are looking to raise funds from a coin offering or a token sale.
Gotcha. Shane, why don't you take this opportunity to tell the audience a little bit about SVK Crypto? I know it's not something I've covered in the show into much detail, so it'd be a great opportunity for you to fill everyone in.
Yeah, SVK Crypto is passionate, focused, and embedded in everything crypto. We do several different things here. The first thing that we execute is that we manage a crypto portfolio, so almost like a crypto fund. Yeah. We're invested in several different coins. I believe our biggest holding is Bitcoin. Then we hold Ethereum. We hold Ripple, Dash, Monero, Litecoin, and Rivets. We also have about 2 or 3% of our portfolio, which is investing in new ICOs. And I think as we continue to raise capital, that's going to become more broader. We also are very involved in sourcing, analyzing, and investing in ICOs. We are also very involved in almost like a one-stop shop for a company that wants to participate in an ICO. We engage at the inception standpoint. We have lots of advisors who will be active in putting together the white paper and really structuring their business, and then also taking them from the initial inception all the way to launch. So that's an exciting new product that we're working very closely on with guys called Chain Starter. And also we're very much on the educational side, whereby we have a Twitter page, we have a daily blog, and we also have this wonderful podcast that everyone is listening to around the world. We also put on some kick-ass events once a month here in the city of London, where we get really like-minded people down, and we also have some speakers flying in all around the world to talk about the crypto space. We're really, really passionate about it. We believe this is the next big thing.
Perfect. And where do you think we are currently in the crypto space? So from inception, obviously, I mean, you've been involved in this for quite a time, but when did you really get fully invested, or, quote unquote, hear a lot of people talk about the rabbit hole? When did you go down the rabbit hole? And what was the trigger behind that?
Well, I think for me, my job is to spot assets globally and invest in any assets that's moving, whether that be property, whether that be equity, fixed income. And I think that I really noticed when Bitcoin broke through $1,000, I became very, very interested. Yeah. And very quickly it went from $1,000 to $2,500 to $4,000. So we've been buying Bitcoin since probably late 2000s. Wow. So that's probably about a year. Initially, I was very interested just in Bitcoin because obviously it's the bigger of all currencies. But then once you buy Bitcoin and understand how it works, then you start spreading your knowledge. And as you can see from our current portfolio, we now have about 10 positions, and we're looking to add to them daily. With regards to where we are, I don't believe the party has even started yet. Less than 0.5% of people who are online have a digital wallet. That's less than half of people that are online have a digital wallet. Wow. I think that we are at a situation whereby up until now it's been very person to person, and I think that's been very, very interesting for people to sell Bitcoins for products or services to each other. But now we have a wall of money which is looking over this whole crypto space as its own asset class. We have institutional money which is looking at ways to get in and to invest. And I think when institutional money comes into this space, this goes from a 150 to 170 billion dollar market cap to 250 to 500 billion. I mean, literally, that is going to take less than 12 months to do. We are already aware of Goldman Sachs looking at a crypto trading desk. We've also had lots of comments coming out of BlackRock that they really believe in the technology. Of course, there's been some negative comments out there. A radical idea is always going to be met with skepticism, ridicule, even hostility, and we've seen that coming through from Jamie Dimon's comments. But I believe that this is a freight train that can't be stopped. And I think when you look at Japan and South Korea and Singapore, they're much more ahead of the game with regards to their regulation and permitting this type of business. But I believe when you start to see institutional money come into this space, going a lot higher.
And where do you think we are at the minute to begin seeing that coming in? Because I know you spoke before about the wall of money being built up, but I know for that to enter the market, we're going to need something to change. We're going to need an ETF, or we're going to need a regulated product for this to happen. So how close do you think we are to that?
Absolutely. I think for this wall of money to enter into this market, and it kind of already has, I think we're going to need several things to happen. One, you're obviously going to need some type of regulatory framework, and I think regulation is good. Regulation makes things clearer. Yeah. But it's key that we do not create useless regulation. I think what we're probably going to need to see is some type of options market, because options markets allows you to hedge.
Yeah.
And hedge funds are going to need to be able to hedge out the risk. They're not just necessarily long onlys. And I think we're going to need an ETF. I remember that when gold had an ETF, no one thought that there would be any flow going through the exchange traded fund, which mirrored the price of gold. In fact, what happened is that the gold ETF did something like 30 to 40 times volume the underlying spot price of gold. So I think we're going to need to see regulation. I think we're going to need to see ETF. I think we're going to need to see an options market, and I think we're going to need to see some type of clearer regulation on the space. And I believe all are quite imminent.
Perfect, and that kind of wraps in with my fourth question here about adoption. So you're talking about a regulatory standpoint, which is fantastic, and the institutions. But where do you see not just Bitcoin itself, the cryptocurrencies, in terms of mass adoption to the general public? I mean, where do you think we are there, and where do you see that going, and what do you see happening there?
Yeah, I think up until now it's very much been a type of early innovators accumulating Bitcoins and spending it within the Bitcoin community, which has been fantastic.
Yeah.
Now I think Bitcoin has come about almost like a store of value, like gold, bullion, or bars.
Right.
You buy it because you hope to sell it at a later date for more than you bought it for. Hence a store of value. I mean, if you had a block of gold on your desk here, you couldn't go off and go buy a coffee. And I think although some places do accept Bitcoin, my understanding is that it is Dell, Lamborghini, Microsoft, Tesla, and even some post office in the Lake District I found accept Bitcoin. But I think that we are quite a bit away from mass adoption because it hasn't been mass market. It's been very, very niche. But I think that will change.
And do you think that's going to have a link with the institutions getting involved? Maybe that will be a catalyst for the mass adoption in the.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's kind of two sides of that coin. One is having a Bitcoin wallet on your phone and being able to go in and transact on it. I mean, it makes absolutely amazing sense that you could travel around the world, have one currency, and be able to use it everywhere with no inflation. Like, let's not forget what the banks have done since the 2007 2008 market crash. There's been a wall of quantitative easing, and all these banks have done is can continue to print more and more money. The more money that they print, then guess what? The less value of the cash that you hold. So I think mass adoption will come about. But listen, let's not forget, I mean, the iPhone came out in 2007, 2008.
Right.
And I was one of the first people to have one of those iPhones. And when people got them, it was like, oh, wow, I can get my email and I can look at Google and it looks the same as my computer.
Right.
Not many people took up on that. Now you look at everybody and it's mass adoption. Why? Because they built apps, not only on the App Store, but then they opened it up to third parties that allowed to sit on the phone, which now allows you to do anything that you want, right? From dating online to checking the weather to gambling and betting. And the same thing is going to happen with the blockchain. At this point in time, it is just illegible. When we start to have applications sitting on the blockchain, then this becomes more of a mass market product. So at this point, it's the iPhone day one, or it's the internet 1992, 1993. But of course, that will change very rapidly. Okay,
and what excites you about what's happening at the minute? I know it's moving very fast, but is there anything in particular that you're excited about, or you're looking at the minute, SVK Crypto, or you're kind of focusing on, or are you just so kind of engaged with what's going on in the general industry? Or is there one thing that you're seeing and that's got your interest at present, Shane?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm surprised and excited about everything I see right now. I mean, if we were just to look at US bank deposits in the US, they're about this is cash deposits in the US, they're about 120 trillion. The total cryptocurrency market is 150, 160, 170 billion. Yeah. We're probably about 1 to 1.5% of the total deposits in the US market. And I'm not talking about fixed income, our property, our equity. I'm literally just looking at the US. So if a tiny amount of money which was held in cash was to move on to the cryptocurrency market, there's no reason why this 160, 170 billion market can't go up 10x. Also, if you look at the price of Bitcoin and I'm comparing it slightly to gold, the price of Bitcoin's market cap is just over 100 billion now. The total gold market is about 7 or 8 trillion, depending on which report that you use. That's only 1% of the gold market. If we had 5% of the gold market, which isn't a big number, to be taken out of gold in their portfolio and put into Bitcoin,
it's true.
It's a 5x. That's Bitcoin at 25,000 before you know it.
So you're saying it's undervalued at the minute?
I believe it's a fair price for where it's at now.
Okay.
I believe the market is correct. However, the market will change, and I don't see any reason why Bitcoin can't go up 5x from here very, very easily on what I've given you. So I'm excited about the underlying price. I'm excited about the initial coin offerings. I think we're probably raised in 2017 about 2.5 billion. This has now surpassed, for the first time ever, early stage venture capital funds raising money for the technology space. So the ICO market has now surpassed typical venture capital funds. So I mean, that's pretty interesting. What I really liked today was Steve Wozniak of Apple fame coming out and talking about how much he loved Bitcoin, and I thought that was a really, really positive story. How he was just really, really blown away by how the whole cryptocurrency space had really kind of matured and kind of grown up, and yeah, I definitely agree with him. So I really like his view and he's taking. And by the way, I don't think this is going to be a straight line. I don't think it's going to be linear. With Bitcoin, there is an awful lot of volatility in it. Like, let's not forget, at one stage in its early days, Bitcoin fell 85% down to $200.
Right.
I don't think this is going to be a one-way trade. And I think when there's this much money on the table and it is challenging government and power, that there is a lot of risk to this. It's not going to move in a straight line. And there's going to be some days where this is going to basically get squeezed and it's going to run higher, and there's going to be other days where there's going to be real negative news about it and people are going to get spooked and it's going to fall lower very, very quickly. So I think you have to be I think you have to know the risks that are involved, and I think you have to invest what you can afford to have. I think that there will be ups and downs, but I think the long-term trend is your friend, and we're very bullish on this, and we really, really are all in at this point in time.
And really quickly, just lastly, at SVK Crypto, when I know you're building up your position in Bitcoin and a few other cryptocurrencies, as you mentioned previous in the show, but when do you look to buy? Do you look to buy in the downs? Are you looking to buy on the way up? I mean, when are you looking to place your trades?
Well, I think from a trader's perspective, I always like to build positions when the market is lower. So with this particular trade, and I'm just going to focus on Bitcoin, I'm not there to trade it, i.e. I don't want to buy low and sell high and keep on churning my book. Really what we're looking to do is to take a meaningful amount of money and build core positions and go long, essentially, is what we would call it in the business. So I want to buy it at every pullback and keep on buying to that position. It's almost called a cost average in. So I'm looking to buy it on pullbacks. We've still got more capital to allocate to Bitcoin. I think today it's down about 3%.
Correct,
at about kind of 5,500. I'm looking for Bitcoin to probably break that down to 4,800, 4,000. Wow. 4,750. Okay. I'll be looking for an entry there. I may not get it, but I certainly don't want to buy when it hits 6,200 on the weekend. I can pick better entries, and I think as a trader, you've got to be very patient, and you got to wait for your time to get in and go from there. So, but we're still buyers, and we want to still buy as much as we can when we can.
And from your trading days previously at your other firms, have you ever traded anything like Bitcoin before, with the volatility, going up some days by 10%, dropping down 15%? Is there anything that's kind of tuned you up for this, let's say?
Yeah, I think it has a resemblance to a very hot tech IPO trading on its first day.
Wow.
But that's not trading under any fundamentals. That's trading on fear and greed.
Okay.
And this has the same attributes to that. Mm-hmm. So I think you just got to pick your point and and get your entry in. And listen, you may be wrong over a few days or a few weeks, but if you've got a long bias and you've got a good focus on it, I think what you have to do is just accumulate the position and hold it. So
perfect.
Yeah.
Well, listen, we really appreciate you coming on the show. If anyone's listening, the best thing to do to follow Shane is follow him at SVK_crypto, or reach him directly on his email, which is Kehoe, SKEHOE, at svkcrypto.com. If you have any questions, anything like that, please feel free to reach out.
Okay.
Do you have anything?
Yeah, absolutely. If you like this podcast and you've listened to Charles for about the last few weeks, we would really appreciate. We would love for you guys to comment on it, star it, do whatever you can. We're really trying to push this out into the community. So please help us. Please help us get there, and give us a like or a retweet, or just a comment, just to know you're out there. And if there's anything that you want to know, contact me. I'm always available. But I think we're going to go on a journey. I think there's going to be ups and downs. But I'll tell you one thing, man. We are going to enjoy this ride. So strap yourselves in. Also, our next London event is
on the 16th of November, and that's going to be at the WeWork in Moorgate. So if you have any questions there, you can reach out to us directly. It's going to be up in Eventbrite. I believe it's up there at the minute. But if you have any questions, queries, travel requirements, maybe you want to know how to get there, I'm not sure, please feel free to reach out. You have all our details. Any other questions, please feel free to reach out. Other than that, have a great evening. Thanks so much for listening.
Thanks very much, Charles. Great job.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to an SVK Crypto podcast original. Follow us on Twitter at SVK_crypto. Email us on cstorry@svkcrypto.com. Leave us a message on our website, www.svkcrypto.com.